And welcome back to Stories from the River. This is your host, Charlie Malouf. And I'm here with Bradley Sullivan, our GM of the Albemarle Aces. Let me say it like this, of the award-winning Albemarle Aces. We're gonna pick it up. If you missed the first part of our conversation, go back and watch that now or listen to it now. And we're gonna continue the conversation with Bradley because we've got a lot more to talk about being a successful store and being a successful GM. So Bradley, welcome back.
Hello, Charlie.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
Hey Bradley, describe the scene. Like, what are we looking at right now?
I won't say it makes me feel homesick, but it makes me feel like home. Where I grew up, this could be a painting or a picture on everyone's wall.
Yeah.
I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, the home of IndyCar racing. And the biggest spectacle in the world, the Indy 500. And we're looking out on the Charlotte Motor Speedway right now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and are you going to get in the car later on?
Absolutely.
So you're going to do some laps here?
For sure.
Yeah, so we're here at the GMRX and the Sleep Summit going simultaneously. And you're here for 2 days of the GMRX. And the third day you'll be at the Sleep Summit. And you'll be maybe at Top Golf tonight.
Oh yeah. Well, Pacers start at 7. So.
Okay. Well, you got to
sure they got a TV.
So we're on location here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina, finishing up with Bradley. On the last conversation, we ended talking about consistency. And so Bradley, when you think about that, what are some of your best routines or habits or disciplines that you deploy for yourself to kind of keep yourself consistent?
I'm obsessive about the numbers. I watch all my sports with an open computer on my lap. I don't know what I would do without the VPN. It's probably a little much, but from performance standards and from what I've seen people do that have been with me, it's not too much.
So Bradley, tell me some of your leadership stats. Because I know you've got like Yoda, Grogu awards. What are the stats for your leadership?
Well, my teams have won 9 top stores for Broad River, 4 Yodas at the Boulevard, I believe, and 5 Grogu's now for the category now for the Albemarle Aces. We have 4 cheeseburger trophies since I've returned, and a couple of those spread throughout from before, but 4 cheeseburger trophies since we've returned. 3 #1 store in North America, which for a furniture guy, man, that's pretty awesome.
So, and let's just unpack these. The cheeseburger trophy is building the cheeseburger is the Sleep Award.
That is the Sleep Award, and the most valuable trophy, the hardest to win and the hardest to repeat, the hardest to get twice.
I thought Yoda would be the hardest one.
I would say it's not.
And then Yoda is store of the month for the larger stores,
sure.
And Grogu is the store of the month for the smaller stores.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got 4 Yodas, which no outlet had ever won a Yoda. Which was really awesome for the Believe.
Before we set it up into Yoda and Grogu,
that's right.
The Believe won Yoda amongst all the big behemoths
4 times in a row, which may or may not still be a record. That's
a pretty big record for talking about consistency. And then store of the month. Now, the first time you saw that Albemarle got store of the month for North America, what was your response or reaction?
I told my mom.
Yeah. And what did that mean to you? What did she say to you?
My mom's, I'm sure you can imagine, a pretty tough gal. And she just always says something along the lines of...
I'm going to say that Bradley's mom is a very nice woman. I'm sure I'm not going to say she's a very tough gal.
She ain't after you, Charlie.
Yeah. I'm going to say she raised a very pleasant young man, a great leader here.
Well, all my brothers are going to say you're talking about them.
But you're not going to get me on camera here to say something negative about your mom.
No.
Yeah. So
she always has something to say along the lines of, she's very supportive. She always has been, or I wouldn't even be sitting here with you, that's for sure. But she always says something along the lines of, I'm not surprised, and this is what you've always been destined to do, and you've always been a leader, and that's the way she always speaks to me about it. My mom never speaks to me about it in a way of, you're the best of like anything. She just always says like you're a leader, and people will do better if you're around, and that always makes me feel good.
Got it. And what did she say to you when you told her that you got store of the month out of 700 something Ashley stores?
I think that day she was a little more. We would never call Kathy giddy, but I think that day she was a little more giddy than usual, and she just said, "Go do it again."
And what did Rosie say?
You're the best, Dad. I mean, Rose. I don't want to brag. Rose thinks I'm the best.
Yeah.
Rose is an ace. She loves the business. She will give a sales meeting anytime.
I love it. I love it. Rosie, how you doing? Your dad is the best. Okay. How do you balance driving results with developing people?
Well, my team, I'm telling you, you could go to any member of my team right now and they could break down every metric to you, top to bottom, what they mean, how they influence each other. We have a saying that's be the business. Again, anybody who's ever worked for me knows this, and be the business means you have to embody the business, understand the business, exude the business. The business needs to flow through you, and having a great understanding of everything that surrounds it is truly the way that you get to success. And I spoke about it in the first episode, but that's something that me and Bobby learned together back in India. We used to write our metrics on a big day calendar. And at first it was average ticket, and then I was like, wait a minute, if we do this and we can track this and protection plans, and now that's what Broad River did for me those years ago, was all these metrics, and I just became engulfed in it, and somehow it just translates to me. And when I speak it out to them and they understand it, it makes the coaching and the ideas make so much more sense. It's not go do this, it's this is what this will do if you go do that.
And you know how to convert the behavior to the metric.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we talked about habits earlier, and you said your habits are going through the KPIs, but what's one habit that keeps you grounded as a leader?
Loving people.
Okay.
I can tell you every person that ever worked for me and their kids' names.
I love it. And if you had one word to describe the culture of the Albemarle Aces, what would that be?
Poker.
Poker?
Poker.
Say more.
So the Albemarle Aces, when I got there, was aces as in tennis. And that obviously wasn't going to make it long. Not that I don't love tennis, but there's just nothing there that could really correlate.
Yeah.
I told Jalen Fisher, which I also spoke about in the first episode in our first time I met, I told him I was all in. And that's how the idea rang to me, that poker, all in.
Yeah.
And anybody who thinks poker is a game of chance won't be sitting at the table very long. It's patience, strategy, practice, and all those things. And for us, so the Aces, we are playing a winning hand.
I love it. Or just win with the hand that you are played.
That's right.
Yeah.
You never know.
What's something unique about your team dynamic?
We're really having fun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this. We hate to lose. And we will lose. Teams lose. I mean, that's all there is to it. But it's about how you bounce back.
You shared with me in the past about the amount of paycheck that someone had received. It was the largest paycheck they had ever gotten before in their life. You don't have to say the person's name, but say more about that and what that meant to you.
For this team, it's happened to two individuals now, but it's happened a lot of times over the years. And I try not to talk a lot about money as a specific, because that's kind of like talking about the result instead of the process. Marry the process, divorce the results. Stacy.
And Stacy got it from whom? Do you remember?
Keith Jones.
We can now we have to link to his episode in your description of yours.
Shout out to the Bloodline and team, King of the South, Troy, Lance, all those guys.
Yeah.
I don't talk a lot about money. I want them to make money. They understand we're there to make money and support our families, but the money is the end result. The money will be there. If you play the game the way the game's supposed to be played, the money will be there.
But it's super meaningful to you to see someone who comes to you and says, I just had the biggest paycheck I've ever had.
It is, but it's so meaningful to me. It's as meaningful to me to see their kids come in the store and color a picture and us to put it up there. It's meaningful to me for them to know Rosie by name and for Rose to pick who's going to be the top salesperson for the weekend. I mean, the whole culture of love and unity is meaningful to me.
I love that. Okay, so Bradley, what's a recent moment that made you proud to be a GM?
I'm always proud of the wins, man. But in April, we had a rough first 3 weeks, enough that it was so rough that we lost the month. And I don't really do that. So those first 3 weeks, we took it on the chin. Jaywood and I sat back and really talked it out and reassessed. And our fourth week of April was phenomenal. It's buried in that ugly month, so you can't really see it. But we know metric-wise that week, and we carried that right in to this first week of Moneyball May. And I think, if looking back, it's definitely my best Moneyball week since being back with the River. So we saw, instead of just taking that April and that last week, just taking it on the chin, we picked it up right then, we moved forward, and that makes me extremely proud to know that we can be diagnostic, lick our wounds, and go out.
The last part you said there is that we didn't just let April go away completely. People discount the impact of momentum.
Sure.
Because it's not like, oh, we can just turn it on after a bad month. We're going to turn it on before the month ends and get this thing back on the rails,
Yes,
so that we can really be going at top speed for Moneyball May.
Yes, sir.
And who doesn't love a great Moneyball month? Win the Moneyball months, win the year.
That's right.
Bradley, what would you say to a top performing HFC who's thinking about becoming a GM?
Why?
Okay, so you'd want to understand why.
Yeah, immediately is the first thing I would say, and I would just stop until they answered me.
That reminds me of Pat Lencioni's book called The Motive. And some people want to get the title, but not to be a leader to get the title.
Yeah.
But that's the wrong motive. Yeah. And make sure, so I think that's a very profound, astute question is, I want to know why.
Why?
And then unpack that based off what you hear.
Well,
what would you advise that person?
The very first thing I would tell somebody is if you're not in your core wanting to show someone that they can do something more than what they thought they could do, or a group of people, or an organization, or a store, whatever it is, then you probably shouldn't be a GM.
That's wise. That's good wisdom. So why is becoming a GM at the River a rewarding next step for someone in sales?
Well, because in my opinion, you have to be a strong salesperson to be a strong GM. Now, we've seen coaches that maybe never played ball that were great coaches. Well, that's not our game. You have to understand the process, and if they understand that process and as they're moving through it culturally the right way, which they are here at Broad River, that's what we do, then they'll have that opportunity. But if they want to love people and grow people, that's what they should do.
Okay. And so what makes the GM role here at Broad River different from leadership roles at other retailers?
If I wouldn't have came back here, I was done with the furniture business forever. And that's a big thing for me. The furniture business is rooted in my heart and in my neighborhood and in my friends and my children. Both of my daughters have grown up in furniture stores. But Broad River has you, for one. I have Stacy and Manny and Renee and all these people from the top that just make this tree of love and acceptance and possibility. So if you want to play the pros, you've got to do it here. I never would have went anywhere else because I'm not going to the CFL.
I got it. We'll let people do their own, draw their own conclusions on those metaphors from Bradley's words. How does stepping into a GM role elevate someone's growth beyond sales?
Well, I mean, you can sell one sofa, but if you got 10 people selling 10, you're just going to have more of an impact. So if you're a great salesperson and you're a great leader with your guest or leader with your team, or become a sales manager and a leader within the store, if that is your path, who knows how far you can go.
Okay. And for someone thriving in sales, why might the GM role at Broad River be the opportunity that they didn't know they were looking for?
That would be up to their current GM to show them that possibility and to open their eyes to that. Our salespeople make a tremendous amount of money. I mean, they do very, very well here. But again, like I said before, it has to tie in with a passion for people and your own personal success.
Okay. Bradley, what is the white-hot vision that lights you up and your team up for the Albemarle Aces for 2025?
Winning. I mean, we just want to win.
Be more specific.
It lights us up to be the best, and that's different than winning. People win all the time without being the best. But we achieved in December the top store in North America, and then the first thing I said to Manny, he was like, after having the first time, he was like, when are you going to do it again? And that's exactly what the idea is for us. We don't want to be an outburst. We don't want to win once. We want a legacy. And we want to be what the Boulevard Believe carry, and the Bull City Ballers and all these in my heart. We want to be a legacy. We want to be known for excellence. We want to be the standard.
What do you want to be known for?
I just want to be a good guy, man. I just want people to love me.
You got really quiet on that answer.
Well, it's so simple, man. I know I'm known for a lot of things, but I just want to be known for loving people and being dependable to my teammates.
Favorite NBA player of all time?
Charles Barkley.
Really?
The only time I ever rooted against Michael Jordan.
Who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan.
That's the right answer. Okay, and then you wanted to call this series at one time. You've got another phrase. We talked about in the first episode, hashtag outlet life and hashtag just because. And if I recall correctly, you want to call this moving units with Bradley Sullivan. So what does moving units mean?
Simplicity. I think it goes back to the days before Broad River showed me this large world of understanding and the matrix of metrics, Bottom line is sell something at a profit and then go sell something else at a profit. The processes are great. All the intricacies are great.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just comes down to that simple is, are we giving everyone an opportunity to buy that comes in the store? And that's any of my teams will tell you.
Now, you say you're just a furniture guy, and you just want to be a winning furniture guy, but you're also well-read. I mean, you've read the book, The Outsiders, right?
Yes, sir.
What were you, who were you in The Outsiders?
I mean, I was Dallas.
You were Dallas?
Growing up, yeah.
Well, what did I call you?
Pony Boy Curtis.
Yeah,
which would not go well for me in my neighborhood growing up.
Well, but it's all about staying gold, right?
Yeah,
Stay gold.
Yes.
So, but are you an avid reader?
I would not say I'm an avid reader by any means, but there was times in my life growing up, my godfather, my Uncle Steve, my mom's brother, he would just show me these amazing things. My mother was an avid reader, and there would just be some times that I would latch on to it. But there's times in my life when I did. I haven't read a book in years. I've read Rosie a million books.
Don't say you haven't read a book in years, or maybe you've listened to some. I'm gonna surprise you here with this. You're not gonna know.
Count of Monte Cristo?
Yeah. Now you gave me a gift in your first tenure with Broad River.
That's right.
This is a pretty big book here.
Yeah.
Tell us about this book and why you gave me this book, The Count of Monte Cristo.
The Count of Monte Cristo, I read the first time when I was 14 years old. And I remember believing, even after I read it the first time, that the book was about revenge. And I think it took probably to the second time to understand that the book is about love. And that taught me a whole lot about myself growing up, is that if everything's about love, you'll make it to the end, like Edmond Dantes.
Yeah, that's by Alexander Dumas.
Yeah, the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, the Three Musketeers. So thank you for that gift. Bradley, we're coming up on the end. Is there anything that I've not asked you that you wanted to share? We talked about moving units, we talked about outlet life, we talked about just having a big heart for people, growing people. We talked about winning, consistency, and GM habits, and the motives behind being a GM. Is there anything that you intended to share that you haven't shared?
Well, one thing, I have 2 daughters. So I got to make sure that my daughter, Michaela Lee, my first girl, that her name gets said too. Because even the 20 years between them, sisters are sisters. I got to make sure both their names get said.
Okay, Michaela Lee, she lives where?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
And she's how old?
She'll be 29 in December.
Okay, and then Rosie?
Yes, sir. She'll be 9, May 28th.
Okay, fantastic. Is there anything else?
I just want to let everybody know when they when they see me propping people up or staying excited or loving it, it's because I love the game. Yeah. And if you want to be successful in this game, you got to love the game. It's a performance-based business. So.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but we went to this Purpose to Impact event that we hosted last year, and my purpose statement got distilled down to play the game. And the second part of it, which I sometimes say is rise to the occasion. And Bradley, you love to play the game. You're on your second tour here, the River. We had a separation the first tour, and you're writing a wonderful, beautiful comeback story. And you really earned the right. You're a high energy guy. I get the sense that you don't like to sit still too much. And you love sports. You love your Pacers. You love your daughters, and you love your team. And you guys are winning, so keep up the great work, and appreciate all that you're doing.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks so
Appreciate
much.
You.
And that's Stories from the River, this GM series with, we'll call this Moving Units with Bradley Sullivan, AKA Sully. So thanks so much for joining us here, Bradley. So catch us every Tuesday and Thursday. We try to bring you the freshest content behind the scenes at Broad River Retail. So thanks so much for joining us. Let us know how we can get better or any other stories you'd like to hear.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. To watch this episode, go to youtube.com/@storiesfromtheriver. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.